Okay, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. So the title of my presentation is Augmented Reality Application to Develop Learning Tool for Students, Transforming Cell Phones into Flashcards. I'm Nazlee Sharmin, and I have Dr. Ava Chow with me. So as you can guess from the title that we have developed an AR app. So in the first part of my presentation, I'm going to talk about how we have developed the app and where we get the idea to develop the app. And to tell this app development story, I'm first going to talk about three unrelated topics. I'm first going to talk about what I teach, then I'm going to talk about flashcards, and then I'm going to talk about augmented reality. And I know it's a bit confusing, but I want you to be confused a little bit in the beginning, but trust me, soon you will see how these three pieces come together and you can see the complete picture. And in the second part of the presentation, Dr. Ava Chow is going to explain us how this app is going to be useful in education. So let's get started. First, I will tell you what I teach. So I teach histology. I know that you're already feeling bad for me because histology is the study of the biological material under microscope, and it is one of the most confusing and least interesting topic for the students. And as you can probably guess from this picture that understanding a histological section needs to understand what type of tissues are there, what type of cells are there, what type of staining is used, what is the angle of cross sections, and so many of the details. Now, here is a question, but don't worry, you don't have to answer this question. I wanted to show you what type of question I ask my student in my oral histology class. So I normally ask the students to identify a histological section, and I also want them to identify the components within the structure. So for example, here I am showing you a section from the tongue. Now, as I mentioned, that understanding a histological section needs a lot of practice and looking at all different types of sections. Students always ask for more and more practice questions and sample slides, ways to practice more labeling. Now, a 50 minutes lecture time is not enough for that. So now I'm going to switch the topic a little bit, and I'm going to talk about flashcards. Now, we're all familiar with flashcards, and it's one of the most popular and optimized way to learn facts. But studies have shown that this flashcard technique is beneficial only for motivated students who are willing to spend time making flashcards and practicing several times. But think about the modern students. Where do they have all the times to prepare and practice so many times? So here is a change in topic again. Now I'm going to talk about augmented reality. Now, by definition, augmented reality is the incorporation of digital information, such as 3D models, images, or video, into your real world. So I think it's better if I just show you an example. So here you can see an augmented reality game, and here is an app. So when you look through the AR camera in an app, you can see your real world, but the app will also incorporate some digital component, either a game or some additional location information. So you can have an enhanced or like augmented experience of your real world. Now, you know about all these three unrelated topics I was talking about. I say that I teach histology and students always ask for more and more practice questions there. And flashcard is the proven way to improve your memory performance. And augmented reality is a cool new technique, but the best part of this technique is that it's so easy to use. Most of the cases, all you have to do is open the app and look through the AR camera. So we thought, what if there is a way where the students can use their cell phones as a flashcard to learn histology? So from this idea, we developed an app and we call it Dental AR. So instead of talking about this app, why not I just show you what the app does? So you can download the app. from Apple Play Store, Apple Store or Google Play Store in your cell phones or any smart device. Now, once you open the app, it will get access to your device camera. And when you hold the camera on a histological section, it will reveal the annotation of the slide. Isn't that cool? So here is another example. So you can see a tooth section here. So when you look at the tooth section through your camera, you can see the annotation. And here is another example from a developing embryo. We have incorporated some videos in our app too. So when it detects a target image, it can play a video to explain any mechanism. For example, here I'm trying to show you the palate development. So when it detects a target image, it will play the video showing you how the palate develops. So now let me tell you a little bit about the technical side, how we develop the app. Now, there is a good thing about this app development and a great thing about this app development. Now, the good part is you don't need any programming language or any other computer technical skills to develop the app. It's very simple and easy to develop. But the great part is all the softwares that were used are free. And I love things that are free. So the main softwares that we used is Unity 3D. So the way Unity works is that it detects any 2D or 3D objects as a target. And once it's detect the target, it either replaces or put any other digital objects, either 2D, 3D, audio, and video on the target image. So for our case, for the histology flashcards, we used plain unannotated histological slides as a target image. And once this target image is detected, we superimposed the annotated version of the same image as an output. So when the students look at the histological section through their AR camera, they can look the annotated version of the slide. So here are some examples to show you our target gallery. The app works fine on a printed paper or on a computer screen or any form of the images. So now that I give you the idea of how we have developed the app, now I'll welcome Dr. Chow to explain how this app is going to be useful in education. And thank you from my side. I'm going to stop sharing now.
So thank you very much, everyone. Like Dr. Sharmin mentioned, both of us are from the Department of Dentistry. And one of the things that our students actually needs to know is they have to have a fairly basic understanding of the basic sciences in order for their clinical reasoning to be performed adequately. So unfortunately, the basic sciences for a lot of our students are some of the least motivating, most difficult topics, and they also mentioned that sometimes it can feel fairly disconnected. So one of the reasons that this topic may be considered particularly challenging is because of the cognitive load that's required to learn the material. So cognitive load theory is based on the premise that our brains have a limited amount of resources that can be dedicated to the task at hand, and for our students, that task would be learning. So there's three types of load that can deplete the mental resources for learning. So the intrinsic load is the load that's inherent in the complexity of the nature of the content itself, so how difficult it is to understand. Extraneous load is the load that comes from the way the material is presented. And germane load is the load that is the amount of effort that's required in order to form mental models and then more permanent schemas. So we can't really change the intrinsic load too much. I mean, biochemistry of caries formation is biochemistry of caries formation. We can't change that very much. But what we can do is reduce the extraneous load and shift those resources over to the germane load so that the students can form mental models more effectively. So mental models are ways that students can cognitively organize information in order to understand the content or to solve problems. And these models are constructed when learners have new knowledge that has to be integrated with their pre-existing knowledge. So the aim of this project really is to reduce the extraneous load that can be a barrier to student learning and shift those resources over to the germane load so that the students can more readily form these mental models. So we developed our augmented reality tool with Keller's ARCS model of motivational design in mind, which is really centered around a student's motivation to engage with the material. So this model suggests that if we could improve the students' attention, their confidence, and satisfaction with material and how it's presented, as well as explicitly indicate the relevance of the material, we could improve their motivation to engage with the material. So to address this attention component, we chose to have this tool in the form of an app because today's students are so engaged with their mobile devices. This would appeal to student interest. The format also allowed us to expose students to different types of media, so pictures as well as audio and video, in order to further grab their attention. And this format would allow us to explicitly state how the foundational science material is relevant to their clinical practice, which is what most of our students are concerned about. The fact that this material is on a mobile device and can be accessed at will, independent of time or place, will allow the students to repeatedly interact with the material in order to improve their confidence, and the accessibility can contribute to their satisfaction by improving access flexibility. So really, our goal with this app is to allow the students, or to facilitate learning by allowing the students to self-test their learnings at a time and place that's convenient for them. Now, instructors can also use this app in order to provide additional study aids for the students. And in the future, what we hope to do is, after we get this up and running a little bit more, we hope to use some surveys and focus groups in order to gain some further insights from both students as well as instructors regarding the usefulness, the usability, and further improvement for this app. So I'd really like to thank the people who helped us work on this app, Nathaniel Maeda from Cognitive Projections, as well as Dominic Vada, who is our dental hygiene student, summer student who worked on this.